All right, here we go. This is the player NBA 2K20 breakdown of Ben Simmons, the Philadelphia 76ers star point guard, power forward, whatever he is. He's a great, I wouldn't say great, good, really good basketball player. The unofficial draft measurements are 6'9 to 6'10. I don't know why he has like an unofficial marking next to his name. Maybe because he didn't show up. Why didn't he show up? I have no idea, because he was going to get drafted number 1 overall anyway, so it didn't matter. Weighing 239 pounds. His early life, he was born July 20th, 1996. I feel old. I don't know about you, but I feel old. Simmons was born in Fitzroy, a suburb in the northeast section of Melbourne, Australia, to father Dave and Julie Simmons. Ben's father, David Simmons, is an African-American Australian. That's confusing. Former professional basketball player. David Simmons is the same height as his son Ben, standing 6 feet 9 inches tall. David is from New York City. His father was good in his own right, playing college basketball for Oklahoma City University during the 1980s, culminating in 13 seasons in the Australian National Basketball League, mostly for the Melbourne Tigers. Fun fact, David's number is 25. David's number 25 is retired by the Tigers. I think it's pretty cool that Ben loves his dad so much he's willing to carry on his father's legacy by wearing his father's number. Ben has said multiple times his favorite basketball player is his father. Of course, he's a suck-up, you know what I mean? Can't trust kids. Ben's mother, Julie Simmons, is an Australian citizen. She met Ben's father, David, in the 1980s while working as a cheerleader for the Melbourne Tigers. Julie, already having 4 kids from a previous marriage to NFL player Michael Bush, would marry David Simmons in 1994. Funny little story. David said the first time he met Julie, she introduced herself by saying, "Hello, my name is Julie. I have 4 kids." David thought she said, "Hi, my name is Julie, and I'll have your kids." It's a fun little story. It's a documentary about it. It's a really good documentary on Showtime. They have 2 children together, Ben and Olivia. Michael Bush, if you were wondering, the NFL player, is a 6'1", 245-pound running back from the University of Louisville. After college, he was drafted and had a 4-year stint with the Oakland Raiders, then played for the Bears for 2 seasons. I applaud Julie for her taste in men, marrying back-to-back stud athletes and then creating one herself. She's definitely one in a million. Not only did she fall in love, did she get these 2 amazing stud athletes, she created possibly one of the best high school college players. I wouldn't say he was one of the best college players, but he was really, really good. 6'9" monster, excuse me. Being in Australia, this is his high school years, being in Australia was going to hinder Ben's development because the competition level wasn't as good as the States, and because Ben wouldn't be a top high school prospect because those rankings are done in the United States. It would be more difficult for him to get recognized by scouts in the U.S. when he isn't playing in the U.S. His family decided to send him to a top private school, the Montverde Academy in Florida. In April 2013, as a high school sophomore, he played his sophomore, junior, and senior year there. Montverde rallied from a 16-point deficit to beat New Jersey's St. Benedict's 67-65 in the high school national tournament final. During his junior year, Simmons averaged 18.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, shooting 69% from the field and 77% from the free throw line. Interesting, no 3-point percentage. Couldn't find any. Interesting stat. Montverde finished with a 28-0 record, ending the season with his junior year. Excuse me. Yeah, his junior year. So then they went back to the state high school national tournament, and they won it again. So they were back-to-back state high school national tournament champions. The feeling of winning a national championship in Madison Square Garden for a high school kid, has to be one of the best feelings imaginable. Granted, I'm biased because I think way too highly of basketball accomplishments, but that's my flaw, and we aren't here to discuss me. Ben followed that year up by taking Mount Vernon Academy back to the championship and winning 70-61 over Oak Hill Academy on April 4th, again in Madison Square Garden. Can you imagine winning 3 national championships in high school? Back to back to back. I still can't get over what that feeling would be like. Anyway, that season, Ben averaged 28 points, 11.9 rebounds, 4 assists a game, and 2.6 steals while shooting 70% from the field and recording 24 doubles. That season, he was named the Morgan Wooden Award winner. That award is given to the best male McDonald's All-American player who showed outstanding character, exhibits leadership, and embodies the values of being a student athlete in the classroom and in the community. Fun fact, the only other Florida player to win that award was another professional athlete's son, Austin Rivers, back in 2011. It's interesting to note that Ben was applauded throughout his high school years for being an amazing student athlete, and then goes on to LSU and gets criticized for his school and study habits. Ben was the first athlete to speak publicly about why he was at LSU. He went there because the NBA makes kids come out of high school and wait 1 year before being eligible for the NBA draft. Ben's issue was, if I'm ready, why can't I go make a living in the NBA? Why am I pretending to be a student athlete? He had all the responsibilities of any other student playing, plus extra photo shoots, signatures, meet and greets. His point was, why am I being treated one way when the college needs something and then shot right back down to where all the other kids are on the campus? He's either one or the other. He's either a superstar or he's just one of the other kids. Treat him the same is what his point was. The colleges have been having their cake and eating it too. I know that's an old saying, but in this case, it deservingly fits. How can a college make millions of dollars off of him and then say he's just another student? The college sells the rights to broadcast their games to networks, and that price is set on the star power of that team. The national TV spotlight wouldn't have followed the LSU Tigers around that season if it wasn't for one 18-year-old boy, by the way, basically a child, legally a man, but he's still a kid, boy from Melbourne, Australia. College basketball is a business, and Ben's issue with it was that it's not treated or talked about as one. Ben won't graduate from LSU, so why would he put any value in the scholarship he received there, or would receive there? Is that scholarship compensation for the millions he earned at the university? No. He should have gone to the NBA, and then after, if he decided to go to college years later and take college, he should pay for them himself. Ben is a special prospect. He shouldn't be held to the same standards and rules as everyone else. If a player isn't ready for the NBA, then he should go to college or overseas to further develop. But Ben was ready right out of high school. Forcing him to go to college is an error in the system. However, because of Ben and players like him speaking up, more options are opening up for high school kids. Watching his Showtime documentary, One and Done, was an interesting look into a young yet mature mind of a student athlete transversing from high school to college and then to the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Now, his college, I already spoke about his views on college sports, and his decision to go to LSU was impacted a lot by his godfather being the assistant coach at LSU. Ben wanted to go to an underdog team and destroy the top 1 division teams, the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the North Carolinas. Ben was criticized by the national media for his unselfish and at times what appeared to be passive style of play. All of the media members wanted him to be a Michael Jordan dominant player. They forget, however, Michael Jordan wasn't even the best player on his college team. Sam Perkins. Big Game James Worthy was on his team. Wasn't even the best player. Every player makes mistakes. No one is perfect. The only perfect people I've ever heard of are biblical figures. And here are these talking heads who are adults, by the way, 40, 50-year-old adults, talking trash about an 18 or 19-year-old kid's mental makeup. They should be ashamed of themselves. He is a student athlete. Playing basketball is not his job yet. If he's in the NBA, then that's a completely different story. But to insult or assume his state of mind is wrong. You can criticize his play on the court, no problem, but that's where it should stop. A lot of these kids stand out A lot of these standout kids are going to see the mess that is the NCAA and the 24-hour news cycle and opt to head overseas to get away from the circus or go straight to the league, leaving the NCAA with a bunch of average players to promote. I don't see how they can be blind to this inevitable change. Creating a strong working relationship with these players is the only way to help solidify their standing within the sports ecosystem. The system right now is good for the average student athlete, but expectations exist in every form of life, and sports shouldn't be any different. His college career didn't go so well. He finished the classes he had to so he could finish the basketball season, but stopped going to the following classes after that. Ben's mindset was that basketball is his job. He wants to make it to the NBA, and anything that can't help in said goal is undoubtedly a waste of time. So his college coach heard about him skipping classes, benched him for the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of a game to show him that he had to go to school. It's unknown if Ben started going to classes after that, but there were no more benchings, and also not a lot of wins either. Ben led the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, but his team didn't qualify for the NCAA tournament, going 18-13 during the season. Ben talked about how since he grew up in Australia, college and the NCAA tournament were not important to him. His goal was to play well in high school, then go to the NBA. He got there, but that 1 year after high school was difficult. However, I believe the experience taught him a lot, and if it didn't teach him much, it at least taught him to appreciate the life he has now, the life he has always dreamed about, being in the NBA. Now, he went to the NBA draft. He got drafted number 1 overall to Philadelphia 76ers. It's interesting to note, I'm going to go over the NBA draft. I'm not going to talk too much about his NBA career. But so Ben Simmons went 1, Brandon Ingram went 2, Jaylen Brown went 3, Buddy Hield, who was a college, not rival, but they played against each other in college, went number 6 to the Pelicans. Jamal Murray played in college with him. Jamal Murray was in Kentucky, I believe, went to Denver. See, there's not a lot. Sabonis, Denzel Valentine at 14. I just said that because he's part of the Chicago Bulls. There's not a lot of people. The only person you can say maybe is as good is Jaylen Brown, but that's a toss-up. Who would you rather have, Jaylen Brown or Ben Simmons? That's a good question. So I'm going to leave it there with that. I'll be back next week with a player breakdown of Kemba Walker. We're going to have a lot more with him since he's been in the league a lot longer. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.